We never, that's what the comment said, to all capitals, we never eat beans and rice. I mean, if we had to, we would, but we don't. So why should I stock it? Let's answer that question. Hello, everyone, and welcome to SuttonsDaze. My name is Lisa, and if you're new here, we're all about pantry preparedness. I believe that your pantry is the best insurance that money can buy. In case of emergencies, in case of job loss, in case of medical issues, in case of a true SHTF situation, your pantry will make you more comfortable for longer. That is pantry preparedness, making sure that you have what you need in order to be comfortable and sustain yourself for an extended period of time. Today, we're going to chat about a comment that was left, and it was by Patty. So Patty, I hope you catch this. And she said, we never eat beans and rice. Never, capital letters, never. And my husband won't eat it. It was something to the effect of, if he absolutely had no choice, yeah. But otherwise? So what should I stock instead of beans and rice? Now, a lot of people eat beans and rice. It's kind of a very common food. Whether together or separate, they are common ingredients that are eaten and can be made into amazing different meals with just the addition of maybe a few vegetables and spices. You can change it up. You'll never know you're eating the same thing every day. They form the perfect mixture, carbohydrate and protein, to sustain yourself for long term, okay? So they are the perfect combo superfood. That is why a lot of prepping channels say beans and rice, beans and rice. On top of that, super affordable. It doesn't get more affordable than beans and rice, seriously. So what do you do if nobody in your house eats beans and rice? Do you stock it up? My simple answer, no, you don't. I have beans and rice here. I have buckets of beans and rice, okay? Because we eat it sometimes. I don't eat a lot of rice personally. We do eat the beans. We occasionally eat the rice. But in an emergency, like when your dog gets sick or your cat gets sick, beans and rice, or rice, is a great thing to have on hand. And it's just simple and inexpensive. So while I do not believe in stocking up for bartering purposes, if you're going to do it, rice would be one of those things. What can I stock up if we don't eat beans and rice? That is totally dependent on you and your household. I have my list. Are you ready for my list? Yes. You can stock up on all kinds of great foods that have longevity, okay, for your long-term pantry. Now, I'm a Thrive Life consultant. I believe in my freeze-dried foods. I believe that those are the best bet for longevity. I mean, they last 20, 25 years, right? On the shelf. Just put them there. Leave them there. You've got food, and you've got the foods that you eat, the ingredients that you eat. Now, as far as other foods that are long-term, there's a whole video that I'll link you to. It'll explain all the different foods. But here are some suggestions if you're not looking at 30 years out, okay? If you're looking at 5 or 10, then these are foods that you can stock in your long-term pantry. So, of course, there's always the canned meats, tuna, chicken, beef. I mean, they're putting everything, pork, in cans. Canned vegetables. You can get tomatoes. You can get all your vegetables. Now, they have sell-by dates. Learn the difference between sell-by dates and expiration dates and when it's absolutely no good. Would I trust these 5 years out? Yes, unless the can looks like it's going to explode, okay? So those can be done. Canned fruits, absolutely. I mean, you can stock up canned fruits. Those will last you a few years, right? Next is dried fruits, such as raisins, apricots, craisins, cranberries, that kind of stuff. Those are good for a good long time. Do not vacuum seal them. They are a botulism haven if you vacuum seal them. Nuts and seeds are another great thing. Now, those are higher in just natural fat, and so they're not good on the shelf, but they are good in the freezer for 2 years or more. Everyone says 2 years. I say more. Things like trail mix, granola bars, peanut butter, okay? Honey is a forever food. That will outlive you. Pasta. If you don't eat rice, then Dime to a Dollar says you do eat some form of pasta, okay? Pasta's good for a very long time. And if everything were to go completely down the toilet, right, then you need the ingredients to make pasta, which is super simple to make. So you need the wheat to turn into the flour, to turn into the pasta. Super simple. But as a rule, if you buy pasta, take it out of the box, store it into an airtight container that is not rodent accessible or insect accessible, and it's good for years. Literally years. Pasta sauce, whether you make your own or you buy it. It's back here someplace. When I run out of the homemade stuff, I buy it. It's easy. It's simple. I don't need to make life more difficult than it is. Oatmeal is another great thing to store for long term, okay? Sugar lasts forever, forever. Salt, pepper, spices, baking powder, baking soda, yeast. Yeast has a bit of a shelf life. It does. But if you put it in the freezer, it can last for years. Oil, vinegar, flour, baking chocolates, candies, that kind of stuff. It's whatever you eat, whatever you legitimately eat, that is what you want to stock up on. And you want to try to find different ways to do it. Redundancy is key here. So if you like mandarin oranges, okay, then maybe you can find some freeze-dried oranges. If you like apples, you can make applesauce. You can have freeze-dried apples. You can have dehydrated apples. And you can have canned apples. It's a win-win. You've got your apples. There are different ways to use different things. I've got beans up on the shelf because they're chili beans and they were cheap. And it saved me time at the time. I have to get to using them. Only store what you eat. It's not all about beans and rice. It just so happens that beans and rice are perfect. You take some beans and you take some rice and you take some Rotel or some diced tomatoes and some peppers or whatever seasoning you like, mix it all together, throw some corn in there for color if you want, right? You've got this great tasting meal that took minutes that has been on your shelf for years. When you're stocking your prepper pantry, it's important to consider your family's dietary needs and preferences. That's what it entails. So if you're not stocking rice because you're diabetic, don't stock the pasta. There are other things that you can stock. There are other ways that you can do it. Not everything is fresh, because that's not the way our world works. We can't grow all of this stuff fresh all the time, okay? So you have to find ways to store it so that you've got it available for you in the off season. It's actually not difficult to stock a low-carb pantry. It's actually pretty easy. It's meat. Meat. I love meat. I'm carnivore. I never said anything otherwise. You should also make sure that you rotate whatever stock you have on a regular basis. Y'all know I do a quarterly inventory to see where I'm at, what I'm moving, what I'm not moving, what I should buy, what I shouldn't buy, what we are no longer eating because we just lost our taste for it, So inventorying is important, and that will tell you more about what you're actually eating than what you think you're eating. So food groups that you should look at stocking up, right? Proteins, vegetables, grains. If you're not eating rice because you just weren't raised on rice, you don't have rice around, maybe quinoa, okay? Maybe oats, barley. Those are all great. I love barley. Barley is so good. Okay, starches. There's various ways that you can get potatoes. You can get them freeze-dried. You can get them dehydrated. You can get them canned. There's a million ways to get potatoes. So definitely potatoes. Your dairy and stuff like that, they have the powdered milk. They have the powdered cheeses. They have the freeze-dried cheeses. They have all of that stuff, okay? So different ways to bring in those things that you like. A prepper pantry is a pantry that makes you better prepared. It's not that you're going to have the same things that I do and I'm not going to have the same things that you do. I have a lot of home canned, I have a lot of freeze-dried, and I have this little space behind me that is store-bought. You may have all store-bought, okay? And that's perfectly fine because that's what you like and that's what you eat. That's what works for you. So consider what you eat today. Look at what you eat today and start making a list and find different ways that you can stock up your prepper pantry. I just call it a pantry. It's the best insurance money can buy. If you want to take a look at the video where I discuss long-term food storage, definitely check this out here. It'll give you a list of ideas to begin your pantry if you're just starting out, or maybe if you're in the middle of it and you just need a refresher course. Until next time, be safe.